Hey you, come, gather around the campfire, and welcome to the party. This is Party Chat, a JRPG podcast where we talk about everything that we love in the world of JRPGs and other Eastern titles. I am one of your hosts, Cameron Hawkins, and with me today is Brendan Groom from PAX Controller, a dear friend of mine. Brendan, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great. Day one, PAX down. Fantastic. Tired.
Yes.
Don't know how we're going to get through the next few days, but...
I'm already exhausted.
I know.
But Brendan, we are here to talk about Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster. You and I got to go hands-on with this game. It wasn't a consistent amount of playtime between people because they put us in groups of like 5 or 6, and there was only one setup for it. So I don't know about you, but for me, I immediately got on Bravely Default because I knew that it was going to be limited amount of time. Let me hear your thoughts on it first.
So I didn't get to play a lot of it hands-on, but I did watch a lot of it because same thing. We were in a room with, I think, 7, and it had to keep rotating. I did get to play the mini games, which are new.
Yes.
That's what I prioritized doing because I played the game initially when it came out 2012, I think. So I love that game. It's a great RPG. I'm looking forward to revisiting it on the Switch 2. I think it's going to be a perfect little Switch 2 kind of in-between Mario Kart world for me. So I'm looking forward to that. The mini games I thought were pretty fun.
They were really good, and they had no right to be.
I know, and it's like such a weird concept just using the mouse,
the Joy-Cons.
The Joy-Con mouse. Really, really good time with that. I think that it works really well. Like, surprisingly, I think we were playing on, like, a very bizarre table, too. It had a tablecloth on it, and it was working fine. So, looking forward to seeing how that gets utilized more. And
it was a weird situation, and, like, they just had to work with what they had, right? So it was pretty low for someone of even average height, I would say. Like I'm tall, and you're above average height, and I was kind of struggling a bit to just kind of keep everything flat. But the mini games were they had no right being as good as they were. There were 2 of them. There was a rhythm game, and then there was which surprisingly, as someone who loves, we both love rhythm games, the other one was better, which was where you're basically driving an airship, and you have to like kind of mess with a bunch of knobs and buttons and steer the ship and change the altitude of the ship. It was really, really fun. I wish I played more of it. I had more time to just play especially the airship one, because it was just so fun. And it had different difficulties too. I was like, oh man, I wish I had more time to just play it once on hard, just to see how ridiculous and out of control it could have been.
That's kind of me with the rhythm games, because like you said, we both love rhythm games, and I'll put Moises on blast. Moises put it on hard to play it, and it was extremely the amount of notes and other things you had to do between normal and hard was absolutely insane. There was so much more going on the screen, and I'm like, this is either going to be way too hard for me, or that absolute type sicko stuff that you can just kind of dial into and have a good time. Yeah,
I started with the rhythm game, and I thought it was the normal mode was fine. I thought it was very slow. It was very slow. It was very slow. So I wanted to play hard, but I was like, I gotta play the other mini game while I have the time to do so. And then by the time I did the tutorial of all of that, I was like, I kind of really want to do this, because once you get the tutorial sets it up as just you're flying through some rings, and that's really kind of the main thing. But then once you do a normal level, it gets more intensive. There's more things to do. It's pull this knob, and then there are these 3 buttons. They tell you off, on, off, and then you have to fix the right order. And then there's change this number dial from 12 to 16. And then once you finish all the flying stuff, you run into a ghost ship. And then you have to grab these fly swatters from using both of the Joy-Cons, and then you have to start slapping the ghosts so they don't hurt you. And then you get to use these cannons, and then you have to pull using the Joy-Cons to shoot these cannons. this is really
There's so
fun,
much going on, yeah.
and it has no right to be this fun.
Yeah.
And it's like now, you know, I'm at a place right now where I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna even be able to afford a Switch 2 at launch. But now that like I played this, I'm like, if I do, I'm 100% getting this game at launch or as soon as I can, because the mini games are just so fun on top of like, you know, the game that we're already getting. And you know, so unfortunately, going to the game itself, the you know, the campaign didn't have a whole lot of time with that. There's, you know, I had to skip all the cutscenes. I haven't played Bravely Default before.
Oh, okay. It's a solid RPG, and
I've heard it's great.
I think it's gonna really hold up. It looks gorgeous already.
Yeah, I heard it's great, and but the thing is that the beginning has so many cutscenes, so I have like no real sense of the story, and it got to the point where like I got on yes, and then we did like a few battles, and I'm like, this is not doing anything. This is not doing what it needs to do.
Yeah.
So I was just like, cool, I'm just gonna go to the mini games because I need to know what the new stuff is, and like, it's great because one, it shows the proof of concept, right? Because like when they announced like, oh, we're doing like this mouse function with the Joy-Cons, we're not PC players. I was like, why?
Yeah.
Do we really need this and stuff like that? But now that we've actually gotten some game, like, you know, something to show like, hey, this could be really fun. I'm like, okay, like I want to see people cook. I want to see people see what they can do with this.
Especially double mouse, like the fact that it's like you had two hands on the table moving these things around. And the rhythm game made me think sort of like Project D. I think it's a Hatsune Miku rhythm game. I think it's called Project Diva, Mega Mix, maybe?
Something like that, yeah.
But it's similar to that a little bit, not really, but sort of like Persona Dancing, like a kind of off the beaten path type of rhythm game where you're doing other things with circles and stuff like that. And I think that once you kind of wrap your head around how it works a little bit, where you're trying to cut circles in half and then you need to line up to hit like your mice together when it's a straight bar, and then there's like other notes that you have to hold with one of the triggers. I think there's like enough variety in what you have to do, including just, again, I thought the normal was very easy.
Yes.
But seeing that bump up to hard, I was like, whoa, okay, like there's potential for this to be, you know, something pretty substantial that could keep you busy outside of playing the game in between sessions or what. I'm looking forward to it. I think that new stuff is going to add a lot more just replayability to an already great game.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. I have my issues with Bravely Default simply because like the game key card stuff really just puts a bad taste in my mouth, and it's like I don't want to support that, but you know, it's just, I think that's just like an unfortunate reality that we live in, and moving forward with the Switch 2, and just seeing one, just like how much of a visual upgrade Bravely Default is, and these new additions. Like, I'm also curious if there's actually going to be more mini games, and these are just like the two that they showed off, because they didn't say that they're like these are the only two. They said like, hey, we got two new mini games that are like exclusive to this version. So like, I would love to see if there's more.
It would be cool to see if there's more. I do think that these are fun and cool enough that I would be happy if these were just like long and fleshed out. But more, I mean, I'll take more.
Yeah, that's definitely fair, because it's not just like that there's just one level and one or you know, a few difficulties. There's multiple levels. There's like a good handful, a good chunk of levels.
And it seemed like there was a track list. It was all
for the rhythm game
out, but it looked like there was at least a scrolling list of additional tracks. So I would imagine you'd be playing maybe not all of the soundtrack, but a lot of songs from the game. So just a kind of a cool way to revisit. And it seemed like too, I looked briefly at it, but it seemed like in the character screen you could unlock things for everyone, so there's probably a lot of stuff to like chase and go for.
So yeah, you're right about that. It looked like, so they based off of the job name, like, so like your free runner or freelancer,
Beastmancer, and I forget what the third one was.
Yeah, it was based off of what character you play, but like those are just costumes. I asked them is this like an ability thing where like, oh, you get certain bonuses if you do certain things, and they said like, oh, seemingly that is just costumes. So, and they're just basing it based off of the class name, or job name, which can be, a little bit deceptive, but it is what it is.
Also, when I said what I just said, I was thinking of a different game that I played downstairs. No, you picked the party members, not. I was like in my head thinking of a different.
Oh,
game,
okay.
I misspoke.
You're good.
You picked the party members.
Yeah, but again, a lot to look forward to with Bravely Default after what we played. Again, just a very short time, and we'll just have to wait and see once the game comes out.
It's not too far away.
Yeah, Switch launch title. So, and I mean, with these new exclusive mini games, seemingly probably going to be a Switch 2 exclusive. Like, I don't see it going to any other platforms. Because at first I was thinking like, oh, it's Switch 2 exclusive, might come to PlayStation at the very least down the line. Like, Square Enix has a good relationship with all of the main three, first party companies. So it could, but like knowing that those mini games that require the mouse controls are exclusive, I don't really see that happening on other consoles. Maybe Steam, maybe PC in the future.
But even then, I feel like the dual mouse gives you a way, like if that was like dual sticks, I feel like you have a way bigger advantage doing the dual mouse. Like I feel like the games would not play as smoothly.
Fun,
and they wouldn't be as fun. And
there's something about the jankiness that makes it fun.
I think there would be like one of the rare situations where it's like actually this console version with like weird controls is the real best way to play it.
That's fair, but we'll have to wait and see once Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remastered, that is a mouthful of a title, comes out on Switch 2 launch day. But Brendan, thank you so much for joining me, giving your thoughts on Bravely Default, and until next time, we'll catch you later.